Welcome, folks, to the Data Analytics and Data Science webinar on 21st of April 2018. Today, we're going to take you through a lot of essential concepts on data science and give you a couple of demos to give you a flavor of how data science is used in the world of business. We're hoping that you'll find this really, really exciting. We want to keep this really interactive, so please do feel free to throw in your questions along the way in the chat box. Now, first up, equiskill.com had started out in the year 2015, and our vision is to help everyone get insights from their data to improve the state of their self, their organization, or their country. And for those of you who actually have not actually seen the website, I just wanted to take a quick 1 second detour and share the website with you. Just give me a second here. Right. So a couple of resources that we wanted to share with you. One is that this is our website, equiskill.com, and I'll send this across in the chat box to everyone. We've got a bunch of courses here focused on data science and machine learning, right? Specifically today, we'll be talking about the Data Analytics Accelerator certification, and that's the course we're going to be focusing on today, right? And apart from this, we've got the Facebook page. So this is us on Facebook, equiskill.com. Really nice page. We host all of our events online, and if you go to the review section, you'll see that we're actually rated 4.9 out of 5 by our learners globally. Learners typically are from the US, Canada, Dubai, Europe, as well as Indonesia, Jakarta, and Nigeria. Right, so those are some of the geographies where we have learners from. But this is a global course, so people join from many other countries across the world. Okay. And here's the Facebook page. I've just shared it across with all of you, right? I also blog a lot on Quora.com. So you'll find me blogging over here. Currently, that's our world ranking. That's a number 4 ranking in the world. And a lot of people who have questions also just post their questions to me on Quora.com. So I've shared the global ranking page. But really, if you go here and click on my profile, and this is my profile here, you can see all of the blogs that we've written here and some really interesting blogs about why every company needs data science, how you can build a career in data science. And if you click on the 30-day views, you've got some really popular blogs like how can we be a data scientist from the scratch, and those kind of blogs, right? So I'd encourage you to also have a look at some of these blogs and follow me on Quora. We share a lot of interesting information there as well. Okay, so with that as a background, I'll hop back into our presentation and our vision. My experience is that I've been at Amazon.com. I've worked very closely with the fraud analytics team at Amazon, the GIoT teams, as well as finally as the vice president of Citibank Global Analytics and Insight Division. I am the adjunct faculty of customer analytics at many international universities. I've conducted 57 plus workshops and trainings in India, Singapore, Malaysia, Myanmar, and internationally online as well. Total 15 plus years of experience, and that's my LinkedIn profile over there. So feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn or on Quora. Now, these are some of the global workshops that we've conducted. These ones that you see here are, this is Singapore, and this one here on the right is Kuala Lumpur. We've trained thousands of professionals across all the companies that you see here on your screen globally, and they've joined us online to learn data science and data analytics. But the reason why we're all here today, folks, is that in 1 minute, right, just in the period of 1 minute, data is completely exploding on the internet, right? And this is the reason why we have, all convened here today to talk about data science and data analytics, okay? So let's look at the amount of data that's getting generated in a minute to get an idea of what this is about. And today you will see us analyze Twitter live. Okay, so we'll analyze Twitter live. But apart from Twitter, look at the fact that Amazon makes $83,000 a minute on the internet. Look at YouTube videos, Google searches 4 million and 2.5 million Facebook shares. Just a vast amount of data that's getting generated online, typically 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. And what we're beginning to see is that the amount of data that we had in the year 2016 has absolutely doubled and you are looking at 2x that amount of data in the year 2018, right? And this is what this slide here is sort of talking about. And this is the reason why data science has become so exciting. So what are the characteristics of big data? Well, it has a lot of volume. It runs into terabytes of data, petabytes of data, in fact, and it comes in a lot of different forms. So you've got audio, you've got video data, you've got text data, you've got numerical data, right? And it's moving really, really fast. So we talked about data in motion, right? So it's live streaming data, and it's very important to find out if the data is correct or not. So the fourth V that you see there is veracity, to make sure that the data is authentic, right? So essentially, when you talk about big data, I think when you describe it, you need to talk about volume, variety, velocity, and veracity of data. And if you look at the hottest skills in the year 2018 on LinkedIn, and I've got this article here for you guys, so that you can all just grab a quick look at this article. Here we go. I'm just going to copy this and share this across with you in the chat box. By the way, it's all there in the presentation that I'm going to share with you after this webinar, so don't you worry. But there you go. I've also posted this link. So coming back, to the presentation, I've just copied the top skills, and you see here that statistical analysis and data mining is at number 2 in every geography across the world, whether it be Australia, Singapore, London, Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, the US or Canada, Toronto. I see that data science is typically somewhere in the top 5. Okay, and that's the reason why you definitely want to acquire data science skills. See, the reality is that the projected shortage of data scientists, as per Indeed.com, is 190,000 data scientists, less than what we need this year. And I'm just talking about 2018, because data is the new oil and data is the new soil. This is what corporations, are investing in. And you'd be surprised that it's not just about, the multinational corporations, but even the house of Tata, if you take an example, right? Just a dynamic example here. And this is the house that owns the cars, the Jaguar cars, right? And this is a very traditional Indian conglomerate, but even they now have the Tata IQ, Intelligence and Quants division, right? With data scientists in it. So everyone is focusing on monetizing their data. The important thing is, what are the 3 types of analytics? And this is where I need you to all share what are the different types of analytics you have heard of, okay? I'm just going to take a pause for a minute while you type out your answers. And the important thing is, there are no wrong answers. There's just answers. So what are the different types of analytics that you have heard of? Please put it in the chat box. I've got predictive, behavioral. What else, folks? Primitive analytics. That's interesting. What else? Okay, descriptive. Business analytics. Okay. All right. How come I'm not hearing financial analytics? How come I'm not hearing HR analytics? Okay, so Pradeep says he's new to data analytics. That's great, Pradeep. This is just the right place for you. Sudeep says healthcare analytics. Sharon says data analytics, diagnostic, financial. Okay, fantastic. So I'm going to pause you guys here and share that, that's the clutter, right? And we just need to make this clearer. And we're going to make it very clear now. There's only 3 kinds of analytics fundamentally that you need to know about. Okay, the first is descriptive analytics, and descriptive analytics just describes what is going on in a business at any point in time. Okay, now what is going on in a business is typically what has happened already in the past. Okay, let's take for example sales. Okay, and let's say that the sales this month has been down by 10% as opposed to the same month in the previous year. Now this would be an example, a classic example of describing what is going on in the business, that sales is down by 10%. Whenever you describe what's going on in the business, it's always talking about what's happened in the hindsight or what's happened in the past, right? Now, what are some examples of descriptive analytics? All of the reports that we pull out from the databases in Excel sheets, all of the drill downs that we create, sales by country, sales by city, sales by, zone or by agents, right? These are all examples of descriptive analytics. Even the SMSs that you get saying that your card has been swiped for $200 at a particular location, those alerts are also descriptive analytics. Or Google telling you that someone logged into your account from a new cell phone. Even the role-based metrics. Now let me talk about this, right? So let's talk about sales. You've got vice presidents in sales, you've got sales executives, right? So let me put this as execs. Okay, you've got many different roles, right? You've got sales managers. Now all of these people have different targets, so whenever you pull up the metrics for each one of these roles and see how they're performing in sales, those would be role-based metrics. Each one of them would have different targets. Okay, I just want to check with everyone, am I audible to you? Can you all hear me? Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. Yeah, one of the users just checked, so I thought I would ask. Okay, fantastic. All right, folks. So you all know now that what is going on in a business is descriptive analytics. And suppose what is going on is that sales went down by 10%. The head of sales, the very next question that they would ask would also be a 3-letter question, and it would be starting with the letter W. Can anyone complete this for me? Absolutely, isn't it? So why did it happen? And this is predictive analytics. It's about knowing the reason why things are happening the way they're happening. And this is why you see here insight. Predictive analytics is about gaining insight into why things happen the way they happen. So you analyze things, you create a model that predicts the way the business is behaving. For example, sales, you forecast the sales for next month, right? All of this is predictive analytics, and typically you do this using R or Python, right? And here you would do descriptive analytics using Tableau or Power BI. And then finally, the highest form of analytics is, sure, I mean, sales is down 10%, and suppose we find out that it is down because people are waiting for the next big sale, right? And then the next question that any business leader will ask is also a 3-letter question, and it'll be, fine, sales are down, and I know that they're down because people are waiting for discounts, but how? How do we get the sales back up again, right? And this piece here is all about having foresight into the future, and that's why you see the word foresight mentioned here. Now, this is prescriptive analytics. If you're wondering where that word comes from, it's about prescribing what we should do in the future to improve our business outcomes. Now, the size of e-commerce data is such that human beings do not do this anymore. We simply don't, okay? It doesn't happen. So this is all being done by machines and bots, right? And this is very important, to understand that even, articles that are written on, for example, Wikipedia are now being edited not by human beings, but they're actually being edited by bots, right? And I've got this article on Quora that I'll show you about later. Okay, so if these are the 3 kinds of analytics, the question is, what is predictive analytics is understood, descriptive and prescriptive, but what is risk analytics? Well, if you apply any of these, okay, and I mean any of these, to the domain of risk, we call it risk analytics. If you apply it to HR, we call it HR analytics. If you apply it to banking, you call it banking analytics. So I hope it's clear to you now that those are just domains. They're not fundamentally different kinds of analytics. The techniques that we use are exactly the same in all of these different domains, right? Okay, so I hope that is clear now. The question is then, what is big data analytics? Well, when you apply all of these analytics to data that has volume, high, velocity, fast, right, variety, and you have to figure out the veracity, the 4 V's that I talked about, right? Then you call it big data analytics. But essentially what you're doing, even with big data analytics, is only describing, predicting, or prescribing what a business should do for better business outcomes. Okay, so I hope this is clear to all of you, and I can move ahead now. Yeah? I'll just take a quick vote in the chat box if there are some questions I can answer around this before I move ahead. And if it is clear, please say yes in the chat box so I know you guys are clear on this. All right, well, thank you so much. If you guys have questions, don't hesitate to stop me at any time, okay? Now, the question is, what does a data analyst do? What does a data scientist do? And what does an ML or AI engineer do? And I've sort of, made an attempt to make this very clear to you folks in the same chart, right? Here we go. So the typical data analyst focuses on descriptive all the way up to the beginning of predictive, right? The data scientist, focuses on really a little more advanced descriptive analytics, but really focuses on predicting why things happen the way they happen, and even does certain amount of machine learning, as a part of their role. And then as you progress even further, you find that the ML or the AI engineers are focusing completely on the prescriptive analytics piece, right? And the work that these people do feeds into each other, right? So it's very important to understand that these are complementary roles. What a data analyst does, is the food for thought for the data scientist who tries to understand why things are happening the way they happen. And what the data scientist does is food for thought for the ML or AI engineer to create algorithms or bots that can improve the way things are going on in a business dynamically, right? I hope this now sort of clarifies the different roles that you see out there in the market. And of course, in terms of the tools, you all understand, and the breakups, you all do understand that the market is 70% across the world, okay? Australia, Southeast Asia, Asia, Europe, Dubai, it is 70% descriptive analytics. Let's be very clear so you don't get disappointed. Unless you describe what is going on in a business, no one's going to be able to ask you why it's happening the way it's happening. So this is where it all starts, right? And then you move on to predictive analytics, which typically, is around 20% of the work in the industry, okay? There we go. And just about 10% of the jobs in the work in the industry right now is pure and pure machine learning. Okay, that's just around 10%. It's not a lot, but let's be clear that those are the jobs, but the impact of this can be pretty big. And this is really important to all business stakeholders here, the descriptive analytics here. Okay. Okay. Again, if you have questions, please don't hesitate to stop me. I'm going to move ahead and show you that these are the most important techniques that you need to understand in different industries, right? And we're going to be talking about these in detail in the Analytics Accelerator certification that we cover. But this here is retail, and look at how they're using, analytics to decide what to upsell and cross-sell to different customers. And this here is financial analytics. They're trying to understand risk, and global risk in the economy has become a big challenge now, isn't it? They're trying to segment customers and figure out what to offer to different customers, right? And then you've got e-commerce, and e-commerce is a huge consumer of analytics, right? They're trying to figure out, oh, okay, if you're buying a wireless mouse, can I sell you a wireless keyboard? And that's called market basket analytics. Or they're trying to figure out, well, is this user likely to make a purchase if I offer them a 10% discount, or are they likely to make purchases when I offer them a 20% discount? And how do you maximize profitability by offering just the right amount of discount? And that kind of testing is called A/B testing, where you offer thousands of users two discounts to understand what they're going to pick, right? That's called A/B testing. Now, if you've got more than A and B, you've got C, D, E, F, G, then they call it design of experiments. It's the same thing. It's just more experiments, okay? All right. Now, when you look at healthcare, they have been traditionally the biggest users of analytics. They've always been doing A/B testing for drug control, but really they're trying to figure out now how epidemics are spreading across the world and how they can be contained, what risk measures need to be done. You look here at telecom, and telecom is the #1 consumer of analytics in the world. Okay, banking is the #2. Banking and financial services is the #2 consumer of analytics in the whole world. Now, telecom works on all of these techniques that you sort of see over here. Churn is very important. So when is someone going to leave Vodafone and switch to some other provider? When are they going to leave AT&T and switch to some other provider? They actually predict churn or attrition of customers using logistic regression, right? What can you bundle with what? So AT&T can sell 2 years worth of service with an iPhone or with a Samsung. I don't know. You can find out using analytics, right? And then, of course, you've got social media. Right now, there's a huge storm going on recommendation engines. Well, you get a lot of recommendations on Facebook to add friends and on LinkedIn. All of that is by using recommendation engines. And we help you learn this in this program, the Analytics Accelerator certification, and how to acquire new customers and how to optimize the Facebook and Google ad campaigns. Very important, right? This is also done by using analytics. So I've just made an attempt here to put up the most important things that you should know. And a lot of people have these questions saying, what is the use of analytics in different industries? And this is the answer to those questions. Now, some of the biggest consumers of analytics are actually banks, apart from telecom. And you'll be surprised that there's a bank in Europe that has very few branches, very, very few branches. Now, how many are few branches? Well, here's what happened, right? They ran some analytics on banks and they figured out that there's something called de-branching, and that's what you see over here. How do you actually reduce the number of branches, and how do you do de-banking, which is saying that people need a demand draft, or they need a check, or they need money, they need to wire across money to their relatives. They don't necessarily need the bank, they just need those services. So PayPal today is pretty much doing what a bank used to do in the past. And people realize that, and analytics has helped a bank in Europe, run itself with 0 branches. Okay, and that's the number. And I want you to all Google and find out which bank I'm talking about in Europe that has no branches whatsoever. It is 100% online using IVR and digital, and analytics is what they use to create that bank. Okay. But even human resources woke up in the year 2013, and 82% of business leaders in human resource said, well, we actually don't trust data coming from the human resources function. And PricewaterhouseCoopers surveyed 1,258 CEOs, and you can look at the orange color here, which shows you the dissatisfaction that the CEOs had with the HR data, right? And this got to a point where the HR department realized that so many unhappy CEOs is not a great thing, and things changed. And HR analytics is now a field that has come into the being. In 2018, I think a lot of organizations globally, and we have consulted, we have run projects, I have run projects for organizations globally in the US to help them predict employee attrition using logistic regression. Okay, so what skills do you need? And this is what you need here. Now, how many of you have never ever done any programming? So please say never in the chat box. So I know how many of us have never done programming. And if you have done some programming, just say yes, you've done some programming. Okay, I'm just going to look at the responses here. Okay, I've got a few more. No, yes, no, yes. All right. Okay, fantastic. Now, no matter if you have done programming or if you have not, no matter if you have domain knowledge or not, and no matter if you have some data science skills in mathematics and statistics or not, and thank you so much all of you for your comments, you can learn analytics. No matter who you are, there is something you need to learn. And here's how it works, right? You might have some business knowledge. So some of you may come from a marketing, finance, supply chain background. So you have the top section here, you've got some business skills. Or you might come from a technology background, in which case you have some IT skills, right, coding and programming. Or you may come from a mathematics background and you may have skills around data science like statistics, linear regression, logistic regression. But no matter who you are, if you look at 1, 2, and 3, data science, as per Gartner, is at the intersection of 1, 2, and 3. So there is a need for you to pick up all of these, a little bit of 1, a little bit of 2, and a little bit of 3. Do not be scared. No matter who you are, we help people learn these skills, and we start with something as simple as 2 plus 3 is equal to 5 in R. And if you can do that in R, then you can do the rest of the analytics that is required. I keep joking with my learners that, in the simplest form, analytics is all about counting. It's really, really about counting. And you guys will be surprised, right? All the advanced techniques in the world really come down to counting. Okay. And there's this movie that you might have watched in Hollywood that talks about, I think it's Kevin Spacey in the movie where a couple of mathematicians, do a really good job of gaming a casino and making a lot of money using counting. Right? And I forget the name of the movie. If someone can remind me, I'd be really thankful. And Ashok B and Razif Muhammad say 21 is the name of the movie. Thank you so much for reminding me, folks. All right. So what tools do you need to succeed in the world of analytics? Now, remember, I told you a short while ago that analytics is 70% descriptive, 20% predictive, and 10% prescriptive. So the tools that you need kind of are similar, right? In the descriptive part right now, the tools that are topping the charts are Tableau, which you see right here in Gartner's Magic Quadrant for the year 2018. And you also see Microsoft Power BI over here, right? So these would be, I would call both of these the joint number one for different reasons, and I'll talk about it. I think Microsoft has great data modeling capabilities, good visualization and integration and production capability, while Tableau is absolutely a wonderful tool to do visual analytics, right? Drag and drop visual analytics. But then if you need to do predictive analytics along with your descriptive, you need to combine your knowledge of Tableau with either R or Python, okay? And one of the questions that has come is, if someone knows Python, for whom also is R knowledge required? That's a great question. See, the way I'd put it is that these guys, R and Python, these guys, well, they're the Batman and the Superman, okay? So one saves Gotham City, the other saves the world. I don't know which one is better. I would say that they're both open source, and this is really important, which means they're completely free. They both have very good community. Okay, so a lot of people online will support you if you're stuck with a query. Okay, so this is common in both of these. But what happens is R does a great job of exploring numerical data. It's very intelligent in data crunching, and it has a lot of sophisticated statistical tools because all of your scientists, mathematical scientists, were all using R since 1990s. At the same time, Python has very good programming capability, very good production capability, putting things into production. It is an elegant programming language to learn. It's got a wide range. It's not only for data science. R is actually very focused on data science. And it's got computing power, right? To give you an example, if your computer has 4 GB, worth of RAM, okay? Then R can use all 4 GB to work on a data set. But Python, for example, could work on slightly larger data sets. So if you had, let's say, well, you had 4 GB RAM plus you had 50 GB of empty hard disk space, well, then R would work on only 4 GB, while Python might be able to actually handle 54 GB worth of data, right? Okay, so it converts the hard disk space into dynamic RAM, and it sort of works on it. Okay, so different strengths of R and Python. Okay, and if you look at the wages, right, across the industry, typically the wages for R are around 104,000 US dollars for a very mature data scientist, and the wages for Python, because it's a little easier to run, around very similar, but they're around 94,000 US dollars for a mature data scientist in Python. Now, one of the other things is that in analytics, no one talks about two very important tools, okay? And it's almost like everyone assumes that you know these, but it's not true. One is Excel, 750 million users globally, okay? So never ignore Excel. And the other is SQL. You will never be able to query your data and do good descriptive analytics unless you know Excel and SQL. Okay, so those two are very important, and that's why we actually cover advanced Excel. Sorry about that. We cover advanced, super advanced Excel and SQL. And the best part is, very few of you may be aware that Microsoft Power BI is available free of cost in Excel. So you can actually install Power BI on top of the 64-bit version of Excel and run analytics on it totally free of cost. And we will teach you that in this program. You don't need to buy Power BI, okay? All right, so this is just about the tools, but if you guys allow me, I'm going to say something that's a little controversial, okay? And I'm just going to put it in the chat box. Guys, tools, well, they're for fools, okay? So the moment you get married to a particular tool and you start calling yourself a Tableau person or a Python person, I think there's a big problem, because those of you who've been in the industry long enough know, and please say yes in the chat box if you've seen any of these tools in action in the past. And I'll just write the names of some of the tools that have kind of over a period of time. There used to be something called MATLAB, and then there was something called SPSS. There was something called SAS, which is still around, by the way. And over a period of time, you have the open source movement. So you've got Python and R. Similarly, when you look at the visualization world, I think some of you will remember that there used to be something called Cognos, which was by IBM, and then you had ClickView, but now, of course, you have Tableau and Power BI. So it just keeps shifting, right? And the most important thing is that in any course that you join, you must pick up the most in popularity kind of tools. Now, these days, that would be, Python, R, Tableau, Power BI, those would be. And then the timeless ones are SQL and Excel. Those two will always remain because there's just a huge base of users globally for both of those tools. So I hope this is clear, the part on the tools. If you're clear, I'm going to move ahead to the next section now. Okay, fantastic. Thank you so much. I'm going to move ahead. And at the end of this certification program, the Analytics Accelerator certification program, which is the flagship program of weeklyskill.com. Here's the program page here. So all of you actually get to learn Tableau, you get to learn Power BI, you get to learn data science using R, and we even introduce you to machine learning in this particular course over here. It's a 48-hour course spread over 16 lectures, and it's got fantastic learning outcomes that you see over here. It's got all of the tools that you learn over here. And it's got a detailed course curriculum in all of the tools and techniques that you pick up. So at the end of the course, you also get your certification. A lot of people post this on LinkedIn, so you get a link, and that link can be posted on LinkedIn and viewed globally by all the learners. It can be put on a resume, so it is recognized and acceptable, right? And you've got some discounts for the course. The entire course is going to be, instead of US dollars 399. Those of you who have joined the course today, you will see this link here in the presentation. It's not available on the website. It'll allow you to join the course for only $289 for those of you that are, and this is using the PayPal payment gateway across Indonesia, the US, Canada. Everyone can use this link. Those who want to pay using PayUmoney in Indian rupees, it's only 18,900. So again, you've got the enroll now button. You've also got the course page over here, and just to show you how it works, here is the PayPal PayUmoney link. Right, so we'll talk about that a little later. And here is your Facebook. I'm sorry. Here's your PayUmoney, and the Indian rupees checkout link for those who joined the course today. And just as a means of our appreciation and gratitude for you having joined this webinar, we're extending this fantastic discount to those who joined the course. Again, I've got all of these links here in the presentation for you, and I want you all to go through a couple of new tools that have come in the market, right? So the tools that I'm talking about, just for your knowledge, are the Google Data Studio. Just be aware of that, and it's there in the presentation, so all of you will see it. It's a new offering by Google that should be a game changer, for a lot of people. So I'll just share this here for you. Please do have a look at the Google Data Studio, and let me put it in the chat box as well. I expect Google to evolve this a lot in the future. The other one that I want you to just sort of go through is the Airbnb superset. Okay. Now this is also an open source free UI based tool, right? So let me just put this here as well. Airbnb superset. Why am I showing you these? I'm showing you these because Airbnb superset is free of cost. So everything you do in Tableau for $800 or $900, or that you do in ClickView, for $500 to $600, it can be done free of cost in Airbnb superset and the Google Studio. It will take a little time for these softwares to evolve because they've just been launched. But I think I want you to all keep an eye out for these two tools in the future. Okay. I hope that helps, folks. Right. And now I'm going to kick off the demo in Tableau. How many of you are excited to see the demo? Please say yes. And I'm going to proceed with our demo in Tableau. Fantastic. Okay. And then we've got a demo in R as well. Right. And just as a quick time check, let me just see where we are. So we're at 40 minutes into the webinar. Okay, that's great. Just as a quick time check, I have all of you for 1 hour. Now, do not leave without filling up your feedback form. If you need to leave, please do fill your feedback form so you get all the details for today's presentation, recording. We've got a text analytics in our demo coming up, and this is the entire flow for the Analytics Accelerator certification from the start of the program to statistics to hands-on learning on R, Tableau, Power BI. I'm sorry, we're not doing SAS here. That's a mistake there. And the analytical data science techniques. And finally, the machine learning introduction and your capstone project, right? We're starting next week on the 28th of April. So we've got some time. Right. So let me get to the demo now for Tableau. Okay, so here we are. This is what your Tableau interface looks like when you open Tableau for the very first time, right? This is what you should all see. By the way, you can get Tableau free of cost, right? So any of you that wants to download Tableau, you get it free of cost. Now, a question from Razif, what is the capstone? Oh yeah, okay, that's a great question there. Thank you, Razif, for your question. So no learning is complete without your being working on a full-fledged project, okay? Now we give you not just one, but we give you two projects in this course. The first project is called the capstone project. And this is where you do some independent research. 80 to 85% of what you need to know to complete this project is taught in the course, but we keep 15%, for you to independently research on the internet and complete this project and submit it in 2 weeks after the course. So this is called the capstone project. You also get a second project, which is a live descriptive analytics project. That's actually a real data set from an e-commerce company. So that particular project is a live project that you need to complete in Tableau. And you also get the capstone project, which you need to complete in R using data science or machine learning. And this way you're a complete professional. And we mentioned that on your certification. So thanks for your question. I hope that sort of answers your question. Okay, now notice here that Tableau can connect to a big variety of data sources here, right? I'm going to click on this link and watch what happens, okay? There we go. Now you can see all of the different tools that Tableau can connect to, and look at the fact that it can connect to Google Cloud SQL, Microsoft PowerPoint. It can pull data from Oracle, Teradata, Spark, SAP HANA, Oracle, other databases, MapR, IBM DB2. So even your Google Sheets, right? Hive, the big data, querying software. So you can connect to all of these data sources in Tableau. But for today, we'll connect to the humble Excel, right? I'll click on Excel over here, and I'm going to quickly connect to, let me see. Yeah, I'll connect to the global superstore dataset. We'll actually send all of you the link to this particular dataset so you can all, play with the data. And over here on the left hand side, you see all of the different tabs in this particular data. So these are all the different tables, right? And you need to pull out these tables and drop them here on the data canvas. So they'll open up here in the section below. And that's what I'm going to do now. I'll pull out orders and drop it out on the data canvas. And there you go. The moment you pull this out and drop it on the data canvas, you realize that Tableau actually gives you a good indication of the different types of data sets that are present in your data. And those are someone's asking, how do you get free Tableau? Hang around. I'll give you the link to get Tableau free of cost. Okay. All right. So notice here that Tableau actually tells you the different types of data you have in your data set. So this is numerical data. It's actually hashtagged. So you've got a hashtag here. And then you've got character data over here. So this is character. You've got time. So you've got a calendar icon for time, and you've got geographical data like name of the cities, name of the countries. So that is over here. Now this is good design thinking where they've thought about the fact that they don't want you to grope in the dark and try to find out what kind of data you're working on, and they've given you these wonderful cues on the type of data that you're working on. You can work live, and that's option number 1 over here. I'm actually connected live to the data source. You can also work on an extract. The difference is that when you work live, as the data source changes, your visualizations will automatically change. So I'm going to stay with the live option there. And I'll take returns. Orders have been placed by these customers, many different orders, and I'll take returns. I'll drop it here. Automatically, you notice Tableau is intelligent and it finds a join between orders and returns, and the join is the market field. It means people from the same market who placed the order have also returned the orders, right? So this is called an inner join. You don't need to understand the concept right now. We'll be covering it in the course in detail. For right now, we'll work just with the orders, okay? Okay, and some of you are saying, can you open up and show the Excel sheet? Sure, sure. But you know what? You actually don't need to, or you can have a look right here. In a short while, I'll open it up. But as you can see here, I'll just explain the data to you. I know we're all comfortable in Excel. This is pretty much a spreadsheet, what you see here below. And you'll notice that for every order, you can see the quantity placed, discounts, the profits from that order, the shipping cost, the priority of the order, what product was actually purchased, the category and subcategory for the product that was purchased, right? So all of this is visible here. And then you've got the actual date on which the order was placed, order ID, shipping date. You've got the customer's ID, their name, and what kind of segment do they fall in, where do they live, all the information, right? So this is kind of like your data set, okay? Sure. And what the data looks like in Excel, also I can show you. Just give me a second here while I open up the data set in Excel. How do you work in Tableau, and why do you work in Tableau? Now this part is kind of important, right? Most people think that it's all about data visualization, okay? That you actually present stuff, and in Tableau that you've worked on, and you make these wonderful presentations, right, of the work that you worked on. But really, visualizations like this one that you see here, right, these are not visual analytics. This is just presenting your data in a visual format. See, the real visual analytics is not about just making graphs and charts after you've done calculations in Excel, okay? The real visual analytics is all about exploring your data visually. Okay, so why do we do that? And let me just come to that in a quick second to simplify. We all know that it helps to visualize things instead of what you see here on the left, more like what you see on the right, isn't it? It's much better. And we all know the power of visualization, but what we often don't understand is the limitations that human beings have with numbers. So I've got a small exercise for you. Can you all try and count the number of 9s that you see in this particular visualization? How many 9s do you see? Please try. There's no right or wrong answer, but I want your answers, okay? Come on, folks. Okay, so the best answer is from Razif. He says, I'm getting dizzy. But now can you tell me how many 9s you see on the screen? Now it should be far easier, right? And look at the number of answers that came in the moment we used colors. The whole question is, there are 10 9s on the screen. Why are human beings putting so much pressure on themselves to understand numbers when we do a far better job of understanding visualizations, right? So if you explore the data visually, you get new information which you do not get when you look at numbers. Now I've got 4 data sets here, data set 1, 2, 3, and 4, with some values for X and Y. So think of X as the sales and think of Y as the profit, right? And when you try to analyze, these four data sets using mathematics, statistics, and data science, there's absolutely no difference. They're absolutely the same, okay? But the moment you draw a graph, you realize, oh my God, these are completely different data sets. So one of them has a nice relationship between X and Y. The other one, Y goes down as X increases in a parabolic shape. In the third one, Y steadily decreases in a straight line as Y increases. There's something here we need to investigate, a funny value. And the fourth one, X is the same, but Y is increasing, which means there's no relationship between X and Y. And there's one value here that we need to investigate. Now, this is by a statistician who's actually a very, very senior person who put this together. He's called Francis Enscombe. So the idea is that you do not do visual analytics just to present your data as a graph or a chart the way that you see in this slide. You do visual analytics in order to explore your data. And let's explore the data now in Tableau. So I'll go to the working sheet over here, and we're going to explore this particular data set. Now, one of you asked to see it in Excel. Here's what it looks like in Excel. Let me just enable the editing here, enable the content. All right, so here's your orders. These are all the orders that have been placed, and here's your returns that came back from the customers. Okay, and here's the different people that you have, in this particular data set. So just a brief data set here. Not so big, not so small. It's got around 51,000 rows in it. Okay, I'm going to explore where we're doing well in different countries in terms of the quantity that we've sold. Okay, let's start with looking at the sales in different countries. Okay, so I'll click on sales and I'll click on country, as simple as that. Okay, and I'll click on show me. On the top right corner you can see this little button here called show me, and it recommends the world map, and I'll double click the world map. I just want to figure out where we're achieving the maximum amount of sales, and the moment I open up this visualization, we call it a viz, V-I-Z, viz, right? You can all see that the maximum sales is in which country of the world, and you can all answer that question now. Can you please tell me, in which country do you see the maximum sales? Let's all work together and explore and analyze this data. Absolutely, right? But the question is, which states of the US are actually giving us the maximum sale? Can we figure that out right now from this visualization? It's around $2.2 million, but can we tell which states? No, we can't, right? So let's do this, right? Let's understand which states. Okay, so I'll go and find state and I'll drop it on the map. Kaboom. The moment I do that, you get all the different states. I'll just reduce the size a little bit so we get less overlaps, and reduce the transparency, give it a nice deep blue border. Okay, and maximize this again. Right now, can you see one state here which is contributing huge amount of sales? Right, so all of you can see that it is California, isn't it? And then over here New York. But right now we can only see sales in different countries. Can we see profits? Is it possible to tell if all the states are profitable or not? Yes or no? No, right? So if you need to get to profits, then what we need to do is we need to drag profit and drop it on top of something. So to make this interesting, I'm going to drop profit on top of color. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I drop profits on top of color, and I'll change the colors a little bit. I'll take green for profits, and I'll take red for lack of profits, and step it up to 6 colors, right? Use the full color range. The moment I do this, I get a view of global sales and profits. And please feel free to ask your questions. I'm going to zoom in to the United States, which we thought was doing really well for a second there, and see if we're actually making profits in all the different states of the US or not, and increase the size of the bubbles. Can you all see that we're making losses here in Texas, Illinois, Ohio, right? As well as Florida. And you can see we're making profits in California, Washington, Seattle. So this is how you can explore your data, okay? And how do we validate the data here is a question from Kishore. Kishore, we've actually validated and cleaned the data before we opened up the data set in Tableau. And that is a separate class that we conduct on how to actually clean your data set. Okay. Now, if you want to explore any country in the world, Tableau makes it really easy. For example, we can go to the United Kingdom, okay, and have a look at the sales in the UK, but we quickly realize that England is a state, it's not a country, and Scotland and the Wales are the other two states. So we also need to drop city and bring city into the picture. So that we see the sales in the UK in all the different cities. This is how you explore data visually and increase the size of your bubbles. Okay, and immediately, you can tell that you got challenges in Birmingham and Sheffield, but the rest of the UK seems pretty profitable. And of course, London is doing pretty well as Edinburgh and Glasgow here in Scotland. You got challenges in the neighborhood in Ireland, right? So this is how you explore data. Now, if you want to actually export this data, it's really easy. Understand that behind each one of these visualizations, and I'll remove city from the picture, there is actually data. So when you right click, you can view the data and you can copy the data, and all the calculations are inside the data, including the profit and the sales. Any calculations that you've done in your drag and drop, they're all available in your data. So you can copy this data and you can go paste it and analyze it further in a CSV file, or in your Excel, wherever you want to sort of do that, right? Okay. So I think that's another important concept for you to realize, that we're actually querying the data, but we're querying the data visually. And you can also copy the image if you like. The best part is, when you copy the image and you go paste it, for example, let's say in a PowerPoint, let's just do that here. You'll notice that something really nice happens, okay? Sorry about that. There we go. So I'm going to paste this visualization here and show you something interesting. Look here, you get at the bottom a nice description saying a map based on latitude and longitude. Color shows the sum of profit, size shows the sales, and the details are for the country and the state. So you get a nice description of each map when you actually export it out from Tableau that you can use to your advantage. Okay, so once we've done this, if we want to find out which segments are profitable, which segments are not profitable, that's pretty easy. Or which categories, right? I'll just right click on category and I'll add a filter. I'm going to make this nice and interactive. All right, there we go, a single values list. And now you have a 100% responsive, exploratory data set. Okay. So there are many different graphs in Tableau. It has a lot of capability to work on different kinds of graphs and visualizations. Notice on the top, when I click on all, you see the global sales and profits for all the categories. When I click on furniture, you see many more orange dots in Malaysia, Indonesia, Turkey, Istanbul, China, right, Italy. Okay, and if I click on office supplies, it's actually less red dots, it's more green. Technology, again, is far more green. So furniture, seems to be a challenge. Notice that when I click on furniture, watch what happens in the US. There you go. All go red and orange, and the same for Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Myanmar. So there is a challenge with profitability for furnitures. And you can annotate this, in Tableau, and you can leave a comment here. Let me just do that now. I'll annotate this point and I'll say furniture profits are a challenge. So what are we doing so far? Let's connect back perfectly between the theory that we learned, folks, and the practice that we're doing here now. What we learned in our theory was that, and let me just come to the presentation, just a second. Here we go. We had learned that you spend a lot of time figuring out what is going on in a business. And we just did that right now in Tableau. We learned about global sales and profits, and the fact that, sales and profits are good pretty much across the globe, except for a category called furniture, where we've got some problems, right? Now, how do we find out if Furniture is big and heavy and it's kind of hard to transport across the world, and maybe that's why the profits are going down. Could it be because of the shipping cost? So this is a question which now falls into the domain of predictive analytics. You need to predict if the shipping cost is what is impacting the profit. Now the profit becomes the dependent variable, which means it depends on shipping cost, which is the independent variable. What you need to do now is create a model to model the relationship between shipping cost and profits. And I'm going to do that very quickly now to show all of you the relationship there. Okay. So let me go back to Tableau and do that in a quick jiffy for you. You don't have to follow me on this one. It's a little complex, but I'll show you, how it's actually done. How do you do predictive analytics in Tableau, right? So you take profit, and I'm going to drop it here on the rows, and I'll take shipping cost and I'll drop it on the columns, okay? And this is one point that shows you total profit, total shipping cost of all the business that we've done. And I'll look at all the different markets. So I'll drop markets on top of shape. Now I've got a different shape for each and every market, the markets being Africa, APAC, EMEA, EU, LATAM, and the US. And I look at the details of all the customers. But before that, I'm concerned about three categories, right? I've got furniture, office supplies, and technology products. And I'm concerned about furniture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the category into the picture and drop that on top of the color. So I can see each category as a different color. Now, this might be looking a little complex, but I'll simplify this, don't you worry about it. And I want to see all the different customer IDs, transactions for all the customers. So I'll drop the details for all the different customer IDs. Right now, I'll disaggregate, which means I don't want to see the totals. I want to see each and every customer ID, right, and the transactions done by that particular customer ID. Now, this is what I get here. In this mess, I need to figure out if profit is being impacted by shipping cost or not. Okay, that's my goal, right? And if profit is not being impacted by shipping cost, what is it being impacted by? This is what we're trying to predict. So I'll go to the analytics pane, and let me do that now. And in the analytics pane, you have all of these analytics capabilities of Tableau. Okay, so we've got all of the analytics capabilities of Tableau. And for any of you that need to leave, don't you worry, we're going to share the feedback form in the chat box. So make sure you fill it so you get the recording and the presentation, but please hang around because I'll be wrapping up shortly. And I'll take the trend line and I'll drop it here on linear. The moment I do that, I get the relationship between shipping cost and profit. The blue line is furniture, the red line is technology, and the orange line is office supplies. Now, when you look at this equation, you do not need to be a mathematician. I'll explain this to you in a very simple way. The R squared value is 0.069. So what does that mean? What that means is that the extent to which the profit is impacted by the shipping cost is only 0.069. Now I convert that into percentages. So the extent to which profit is impacted by shipping cost is only 6.9%. So if profit is impacted by shipping cost only to the extent of 6.9%, do you think that's a strong relationship between profit and shipping cost, or do you think that's a weak relationship? Anyone? And everyone can guess this. Would you call that a strong or a weak relationship? It's a weak relationship, right? Thanks, Nile. Thanks, Kiran. So you guys have understood that the impact of shipping cost on the profitability of furniture is not as important as we thought. So furniture may not be making profits, but it's not because of only the shipping cost in this particular data set, right? And if any one of you, have to go, I know we're nearing the time for the end of the webinar. Don't forget to provide the feedback in the feedback form that I've just shared with you now. And I've asked for your email ID and your mobile numbers because I respect your data, unlike Facebook. So don't you worry, you can go ahead and share that. And what I've got here is, now I'll show you the equation again. I've got a p-value of 0.0001. Now what does that mean? What that means is that, let me just put this here, 0.0001 means that my accuracy of my prediction, this is the error. P-value is nothing but the chances that I'm making a mistake when I'm predicting a 6.9% relationship between shipping cost and profit. But the chances I'm making a mistake are only 0.0001, which means the chances that I'm right are actually 99.9999% almost, okay? Which means this is a highly accurate prediction saying that the extent to which profit is impacted by shipping cost is 6.9%, which is not a lot. So it means we need to do more analytics to understand why our profits are low for the furniture category as well as the other categories. It is not shipping cost. It could be discounts, it could be seasonality. People are just not buying this season. So we need to do more advanced analytics. But we've been able to rule out shipping cost as a reason for the lack of profitability in our data set. So I hope this kind of gives you a sense of Tableau and the capabilities of Tableau, not just the predictive, the descriptive capabilities, but also the predictive capabilities of Tableau. And what you saw just now is typically what you would do as a data analyst as well as the beginning of what you do as a data scientist would be to establish why things are the way they are in a business and to help then improve that business, right? But probably in this example, there is more data science required right now to establish what is the real reason why we're not making profits, because it's not shipping cost. Any questions around this brief demo that I gave before we move ahead? And could I ask you all to fill the feedback form? Let me just open up the feedback form here for you so that you all get a recording of this session today. I'll just open up the feedback form. I'm sorry. Just give me a second. I think there's a challenge. The feedback form link that has been shared is not correct. I'll just ask the team to check the feedback form link again and test it and share it across with you. Okay. Meanwhile, I'm now open to any questions that you have on this presentation. And needless to say, we're beginning the Analytics Accelerator certification on the 28th of this month, and we welcome all of you to join the presentation. And this is the PayPal link for our international learners who are joining from North America, Europe, Dubai, or Indonesia, or Malaysia. We have a time zone which doesn't work so much for Australia. So I'll just share the PayPal discount link with all of you. And the presentation, of course, will come to you. So this here is the PayPal discount link. And this is a live certification. Okay, so just to let you all know, just like today's class, same time, guys and girls, same time exactly, we're going to have the class. And you've got 16 lectures of 3 hours each over here. 2.5 to 3 hours, a total of around 48 hours. The whole classes are all in English, and it's going to go really in depth into all these algorithms. And even if you're a programmer, you're not a programmer, and statistics, I'm going to teach you all statistics, inferential and descriptive statistics, visual analytics, dashboarding, story points, data manipulation with machine learning in Excel, data visualization with Power BI. This is all the descriptive section over here. And then we get into the predictive section with R here, and you've got all of your predictive algorithms down here as well. Okay, sentiment analysis, text mining, natural language processing, recommendation engines, clustering, linear logistic regression. And if you've done no programming, don't you worry about it. I will teach you that. And we even teach you machine learning introduction with the gradient descent algorithm, right? Okay, so yes, so a couple of questions. We have many learners who did this course before they enrolled for a master's in data analytics, and really helped them. Those who did really well in the course, we even gave them a recommendation letter that helped them with their admissions process. Moto G5 says nice presentation, thanks. V2 says great webinar, thanks. Okay, so I'll only request that you fill the feedback form. Just give me a second here while it's shared across with you. Can you please share it again, please, the admin team? Okay, so Kishore Mutalik Desai says excellent and crisp presentation. Thank you so much. I would also request a quick request for you guys. Those of you who enjoyed today's session, the only way that we ever get to reach a lot of people is if you like our session on Facebook. A is that here is your feedback form. please fill this feedback form, and in this feedback form link in the chat box, I've got your email, your name, your mobile number. We keep it 100% confidential with us. And then how did you see this event? Did you find us on LinkedIn, Facebook, Quora, Eventbrite, Meetup? And simple, would you recommend this to others, right? And then how satisfied you were with my knowledge, the demos that we ran today, the presentations, and how we can improve this. Simple, just 3 questions, okay? If you fill all of these, we will be very, very happy. So please click on this link, and thank you, Sharanya. And please do fill up this feedback form. Just say done in the chat box once you've filled up the feedback form, like I've just put in the comment there. All right. And in the meanwhile, those of you who really enjoyed today's session, may I request you to make sure that you catch all of our sessions in the future. So please like us on Facebook. Okay. And here's the Facebook link. And if you can, please rate us 5 with comments, okay, on what you enjoyed in today's session, okay? Now, Kishore's question is, can this be done in Microsoft Power BI? Oh, you can do fantastic analytics in Power BI, right? Fantastic analytics. You can run video analytics, 3D analytics. There's a lot of capabilities, Kishore, in Power BI. That's why it's equal to Tableau. Razif's question is, what kind of opportunities hold for managerial candidates? So managers can actually, do many things. Once they learn data science, Razif, they can apply data science in their current teams. So the techniques that you see here, and let me just come to those techniques over here, for example, and let me show you how managers have typically applied these techniques. They've used text mining to look at the customer feedback and be able to figure out the sentiment of customer feedback, sentiment analysis over here. They've been able to project the sales and the profits using ARIMA time series forecasting. They've been able to cluster the different customers they have into different segments here, right? Using clustering. And then simple things like whether customers will stay or they will not stay, can be predicted using logistic regression. You can forecast sales using linear regression. And of course, you can do your entire descriptive analytics as a manager using Tableau and Power BI, okay? So Kishore, for the program management people, like I just mentioned right now, these are the ways in which you can use analytics, which is create some great descriptive analytics around whatever programs you manage, right? Manage the customer feedback, segment your customers, figure out whether they'll stay or leave or whether anything will happen or not, yes or no kind of decisions, right? It will support you in decision making. So it's a huge addition in skill set, right? And for managers, a lot of managers with the to understand this, right, please do understand that the average experience of people who join this program is between 5 to 15 years of experience. You do have a lot of people who are 0 to 2 years of experience who join. You also have a lot of people who are 20 plus years experience who join the program. Everyone needs to learn data science. Data science is the future, right? Okay. So Kishore says basically managing data analytics projects. More than that, I would say managing any project, you need to manage the data for that project, right? That is analytics. All right. Now, those of you who have more questions, we have a WhatsApp number. So I'm accessible at this WhatsApp number regarding the course. And I'm just sharing the WhatsApp number with you. So all of you can actually WhatsApp me and share your questions. And if you'd like to email me, I'm available at contact@equiskill.com. There you go. I've also mentioned this in the last slide of my presentation here. So I'm very happy to take questions around your career and how data science can sort of help your career. If you have a few minutes, I'll just give it over to Pallab, who will show you how R can do sentiment analysis. So Alicia, Ashok, Chetan, you guys have a few minutes. We'll just show you a quick sentiment analysis. Henry, right? Okay, in R. All right. So those who have some time, right? For others, please fill the feedback form. And yes, we provide placement assistance as well for your resume. We help you put together a wonderful resume after this course. And I actually, will show you a few sample resumes also at the end of this demo. Now I'll hand it over to my colleague Pallab, who will quickly show you the sentiment analysis. We'll start with Facebook and Mark Zuckerberg, and look at the sentiment of what people are saying on Twitter. And did you know that Facebook is totally free of cost? I'm sorry, Twitter is totally free of cost. So I'm going to make Pallab, my team member here from the data science team, the admin, and he'll share his screen now. Okay, and I'll just talk you through the code. Right. So Pallab, please go ahead. You can share your screen, and first I'll show you guys, the code. Now, don't be afraid. So this is the output, but before we come here to the output, and you can actually see here that this Pallab, what have you searched for here now in Twitter? Okay, so this is Facebook privacy. Now you can all see in the word cloud, what we have generated here is a word cloud using R. You can see violate in blue color. You can see shock. You can see privacy. You can see Facebook scan. You can see hacked again book. Okay, this is kind of like, Facebook, a little bit of a take on Facebook here. And you can see that Mark Zuckerberg is there in red color, right? So there's a lot of concerns around this Facebook privacy. Let's also see, and you can see that the Pentagon is involved. Okay, so can you all see the word Pentagon below the word violation, right? So we'll close this and we'll show you what goes on behind in R. Okay, so on the top left corner, what you see is all the code. All right, now you don't have to worry. What we've done is we have actually connected to Twitter. All of you can connect to Twitter free of cost. We'll teach you that in the program. We've extracted some random tweets, n is equal to 500 tweets, and then we've actually cleaned those tweets and we've removed things, like hyperlinks. We've removed stop words like the we've removed http, https, okay, hashes. These things, there's no sentiment behind them, right? And we've removed smileys. Okay, so these emoticons and smileys, we've removed them, and then we've actually loaded the sentiment package in R. And we've done the word cloud and this sentiment package. On the top left corner is your code. If you've never coded in your life, don't worry, we will teach you. And then on the bottom right corner is your outputs. Now let's look at the sentiment around Facebook privacy. Okay, so we'll maximize this sentiment graph, and here you go. So what you see here is that even now there is a lot of positivity and trust, but what has changed is that the negative bar, on the left hand side of the sky blue bar, which is the positive bar, you have the negative bar. So let me just show you that here. Let me see if I can scribble and show you. Yes, okay, there you go. So you can actually clean it, and let me annotate here from my end. Okay, here you go. So what you see here is your positive bar, but notice that the negative bar is so big, and it's so close that the gap between the positive and the negative sentiment of the tweets on Facebook privacy is very small. And this really is a cause for a lot of concern for Facebook. And it's something that I know that they're trying to work on, right? The other challenge is that when you look at the anticipation, it's a very high sentiment, right? So people are anticipating, they're waiting for Facebook to take some positive steps around this whole fiasco and restore the trust. Now, do you all see here, watch carefully, I'll just show you that this is your negative sentiment, and I'm going to draw a line. And do you all see that the trust is actually lower than the negative sentiment? Do you all see this gap here that I'm highlighting? Please say yes in the chat box if you all see the gap. Okay. And as a company, you would be deeply concerned if the negative sentiment on Twitter about your company actually exceeds, your trust sentiment. So I hope you all understood, and this is the same for your customers' Google reviews. Okay, it's no different. We could show you the same sentiment analysis for your customers' Google reviews, right? All right. So this is how sort of R is really powerful. And in this course, you will learn to create a free Twitter developer API and connect up with Twitter. Any topic in the world, you can analyze the word cloud and the sentiment graph dynamically using R. And what we're now getting into here is all predictive analytics. So I'll reclaim the host, and I want to thank you, Pallab, for that little demo there. And again, I want to thank all of you for your time. I hope you sort of enjoyed this quick little demo that talks about text analytics in R. With this, I think we come to the end of our presentation, and we are very excited about seeing you all in the Analytics Accelerator certification. I think it's the only course on the internet that combines the power of R and Tableau and Power BI with SQL introduction, right, and Excel, advanced Excel, right? So you get to learn a little bit of SQL to query your data, as well as you learn some really advanced features of Excel like machine learning in Excel. I don't know how many of you know, but Excel now has machine learning capabilities. So I think this is probably the only course, and I designed this 3 years ago for this, right? Now, R is not a programming language like other programming languages. Pradeep, R does not have production capability, which means it cannot make a lot of changes in production right now. But Microsoft is trying to work on that. Okay, R is primarily for data science and data scientists and for machine learning, right? And one last question was, how do we download Tableau free of cost? That's a great question. And here we go. Tableau public free download. There we go. Now what I'll do here is to make this nice and easy, I'm going to include this. I'll send it to all of you over chat and you'll get the data set if you've filled up the feedback form. B, I'm also going to include this in the presentation so none of you miss this link here. Okay. Tableau public free download. I'm sorry about these dynamic changes. They just came, during the class. So I'm just making sure you guys get all of this information here. All right, there you go. Great. So I've actually included that link over there. But notice this, okay? There's the Tableau, full trial, which is only for 14 days, and there's Tableau public, which is lifetime. Now, I would not recommend you go for the full trial right now until you join the program and you learn Tableau. But just in case you want to sort of after some time download Tableau full trial, then this is the link for the full trial. You just say Tableau 14-day trial and you'll get this link here. Please don't download this right now. Prefer Tableau public right now, and then once you get a little more advanced in your skill sets, I will tell you guys when you're ready to go for Tableau full trial. Okay. By the way, if you're a student, I hope you're aware that Tableau is free for students. So you have student version here. How many students in the class? Can I please know? Oh, okay. I haven't heard back from my students. Any students in this class? Okay, for the students, here's the free version, 1-year free version for students. You just need your ID card. All right, so for you, just use your ID card and you can download this. Now, what kind of machine is needed for this course is a question from Rizwan. All right, that's a great, thank you so much, Razif. You see, you will be able to do everything on a MacBook Air except for the Power BI, which is just a 2-hour class. For that particular class, I would just recommend you just borrow a Windows laptop from someone for that class, or you can even attend that class and you can practice on a Windows laptop later. Apart from that Power BI class, which is I think just around 1 hour, I think the rest of the 48 hours you should be able to do on a MacBook Air, so around 47 hours, okay, of practice. All right, so I think Mac is perfect. I think Tableau works well on Mac, R works well on Mac, SQL works, even Excel works, but Power BI, the little bit of a limitation is there, Azif. Okay, you should have a 64-bit machine for this program. So if you have a really old laptop, which is kind of like a 32-bit laptop, I'd recommend that you switch to a 64-bit laptop for this particular program. Okay, and Windows works perfect, Mac works perfect. Ubuntu is a little bit of a challenge because some softwares don't actually work on Ubuntu. So my pleasure, Razif. Right? Any other questions, folks, before we close down the webinar? I'm happy to take your questions, and I look forward to seeing you in the program. Folks, any other questions? Otherwise, I will officially close the webinar for the day. Right, so Kishore says, thank you, time well spent. That makes my day. Please see if you can rate us 5 on Facebook, and that will make a big difference, just for the reason that a lot of people will be able to access our events, you know how these Facebook bots work, right? It goes out to people basis the feedback that comes out on Facebook. So if you guys rate me 5, then a lot of other people will also hear about our session. So I've just actually put the link there. But please do remember to put some comments as well on what you liked about the session, right? We're actually rated 4.9 out of 5 on Facebook, so I think your comments would be really welcome. And please like us so that you hear of future events. Okay. And Dilip 30 says, I'm presently working in ERP domain, Oracle Apps ERP, move to data science. Oh, yes, absolutely. So what we're seeing, Dilip, I've actually got a learner right now from Oracle in our program, which is the previous batch. And what we're seeing is that Oracle and SAP are opening up and creating interfaces with open source softwares like R and Python. So Oracle now is actually integrating, some of its Fusion suite and allowing for open source on R and Python to be used there. It definitely makes sense for people who are in proprietary tools like, Oracle or IBM tools like Watson, as well as SAP tools like HANA. It makes sense for them to pick up data analytics as a concept and as an open source, right? So I would definitely recommend that. And we have a senior learner right now with 22 years experience in Oracle. She has joined the same program in the last batch called Lakshmi. So I think Dilip, you will also see a lot of value to that, right? So I hope that answers that question, Dilip, right? And you can share your number with me, and we can, have more conversation later, okay, on this particular topic, Dilip. I'd be happy to speak to you one-on-one. And how long does it take us to reach proficient level in analytics? Pradeep, this should not take more than 2 months, okay? Because this whole session is live and you will practice along with me. So today you did not practice, but typically what we have is we call it a click and follow workshop. So I'll just put this here. Okay. Now in this methodology, what I do is I drag and drop and click and I run codes, and I ask you to do the same thing at your end as well. Okay. So by the time you leave this session, if you just practice for 1 hour, per week, and I would say probably I'll make that 1.5 hours per week of practice, you will learn analytics in 2 months for sure. Okay. And then Kishore says 3 hours daily. No, it's not 3 hours daily. It's only Saturday and Sunday. And the other thing is that everybody, misses 3 to 4 classes. It's very normal. It's just like college days. Each and every class is 100% recorded. And that's the reason why we record it and put it up on YouTube immediately. Okay. So you all get that recording and you're able to catch up, with the recording during Monday to Friday. When you commute to office also on 3G or 4G in your cab, you can watch the recording and catch up with it. A lot of people do that. The timings are the same time as today. Okay. Only thing is that the duration is actually 3 hours, right? We do have a break for tea and coffee. That's a 15-minute break. So the class duration, the running class duration, is approximately 2 hours 30 minutes, or 2 hours 45 minutes. It really depends on the difficulty of the topic that we're covering on that particular day. Okay. Total 3 hours, 15 minutes break is there approximately. Okay. All right. Any other questions, folks? I hope you all got the links, and I will share this email. I'll email these presentations to everybody who has registered and given the feedback today. We wish to thank you all for your time. It means a lot to us, Ashok, Chetan, Dilip, Harsh, Jiva, Kiran, Nagendra, and Pradeep, Razif, Santosh, Sharanya, Shan John, and Shalsia, Yahya, and Sudeep, Sunita, Tejasvi, Vasu, Vikas. Thank you all for joining and having stayed this long. We will see you in the course on the 28th, and please do add analytics to your skill set. Goodbye. Please do email me or WhatsApp me if you have questions at the numbers that you see on the screen. Thank you.